Take a second to imagine who you were as a child. Your personality, your friends, where you went to school, things you did. Now imagine having to overcome challenges that were so bad that you forget all of it.
It sounds depressing. I should put happy music here.
Hi, my name is Maddox Schnorr, and I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 20 years old. I go to college at Columbia College Chicago, where I study theater and theater technology. I'm training to be a sound technician. I was also born and raised in New Jersey. I like to sing, I like to make music, I like to make movies and stuff like that. I've always been the kind of girl that hid my face. Chicago's different from New Jersey. You don't know what's gonna happen to us.
Are you obsessing over Adam Lambert again?
No. There are also two things that you should know about me. I was born a girl. I was born a girl named Maddie, and I have since transitioned to be a man, which I am now. And I am also on the autism spectrum. I have Asperger's syndrome. Of those two things, they used to define me. They used to define who I was as a person and who I was to other people and the impressions I made on other people, at least in my own mind. So I repressed the memories of my childhood, who I was as a child. I didn't want to remember those things. Those things do not define me anymore. I have since grown up. I have become independent. It's hard to talk. So what had happened was I am a huge fan of Shane Dawson, and when I started to watch his videos of when he went back and basically started talking to people that he had left behind in his life, it really hit me and it inspired me so much that I wanted to do something similar. So full credit to Shane Dawson for what you are about to see. He inspired. So what I did was I took one of my best friends from college. We went to my elementary school to talk to my third grade teachers and my principal. And yeah, it was very interesting because I didn't know if they were going to recognize me. I didn't know what they were going to remember of me. I didn't know who I was, and I wanted them to explain to me who I had been and if that really influenced who I was. And so what you are about to see took place in December. It took a very, very long time for me to make this video. I hope you enjoy it, and now I present to you Remember. Okay, so I'm on my way to Morristown right now to pick up Jason, and then we're going to my school. I'm scared. I'm either gonna be forgotten or I'm gonna be remembered as a girl, so I'm kind of scared about what they think of me now. Oh well.
Alright.
No, I'm just really fucking nervous.
Alright. You're on camera.
I'm really fucking nervous and I want to throw up and I feel like Shane Dawson.
This is so... I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing this. Is so much.
And it's just fucked up.
There you go.
Yeah. This was the art room. I was really into art.
Hello, hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Are you filming me right now?
Yes, is that okay?
Okay, I guess that's okay. Is that why you're here?
Yeah.
You have fond memories of the school?
I actually don't. That's why I'm here.
You don't?
No.
Tell me why.
I forget a lot of my memories, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, I have
Because I
such
want
wonderful
to.
memories.
I
You were very sensitive, I remember, and noise bothered you a lot. And I remember that everybody loved you. That's what I saw. You had her for third grade, I guess?
I did.
Who else did you have?
And Miss Kusati, who,
Oh, she's still here. She's in
Yeah.
fourth grade now.
yeah.
And who else did you have before that?
I had Mrs. O'Neill, who I think is still here.
Yep, and you had Mrs. Walters, right? And Mrs. Hartzog for first grade?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
You remember first grade? You must have had Mrs. Germain for kindergarten.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, she's still here.
Oh,
She has a different name now.
yeah.
You're Maddox, and
Yeah.
she's Polera, Ms. Polera.
Oh, that's
Where do
nice.
you go to school?
I go to school in Chicago.
Wow, I've been there. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Love the architecture. Nice. What are you going to be doing with this film, I'm asking?
I don't know yet.
Well, okay. You'll let me know though?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna- if I'm going to be in it?
Yeah.
You got me in my weird getup
Yeah,
today?
yeah.
Oh, look, it's falling off.
No?
I don't.
Maddox used to come to Crim.
Yeah, I won't.
This was his classroom.
Mhm.
No way.
Yeah, back when me and Mrs.
It
Farnia.
seems like ages ago.
It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, right.
But I don't remember anything anymore, and I want to,
Yeah,
now that I've become an adult.
yeah,
Um, like, I'm so different now.
yeah.
And, like, I also wanted to see if people remember me. Remember, like, who I was.
Oh, we remember you, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's so weird. I didn't think that anybody would.
Do you remember any of the things that Miss Casati said to you or that I said to you? No?
Do you remember
Oh,
what
sure,
you said
sure.
to me? I remember it was very difficult.
I remember you didn't want to share a lot,
Yeah.
you know. Morning meet, do you remember morning meeting? Sitting in a circle on the carpet?
Not really.
No.
I don't remember any of
So we would say, I don't know if you have this or I'm going to talk to him right now. You know, like a greeting every day and say good morning to everybody and shake hands. That you definitely did not want to shake hands.
No.
Are you doing any writing?
Writing?
Yeah. I remember you were a fabulous writer back in third grade.
I wrote the script for the TV show.
Yeah, we always kind of knew. I'm sure Miss Casati could tell you more. Like you were very dramatic.
I
about
was.
everything. even though you don't want to participate, everything like oh,
That's,
lots of hand wringing.
Did you ever suspect that I would ever turn out to be a boy?
Oh, sure, absolutely, because you talked about it all the time.
I did?
Yes, you drew
Really?
pictures.
Did I?
Mrs.
Miss Casati
Farnia
has.
probably has one somewhere tucked away.
Oh, we have to look at that.
Yeah.
'Cause I had no idea that I even talked about it at all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it was, to me, it was something that you always knew and we kind of always knew underneath and probably was what was holding you back all along, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think
at least
so.
from our perspective, you know.
Yeah, I think so. So you knew that this was going to happen.
Well, no, not exactly, but we knew that there was something.
That there was something like there.
There was something there, and that you weren't living your true self, and it was keeping you from
That's
being happy, you know? And the other part of it was we saw so much potential. Like when you would say you didn't want to get up on stage for the choir concert.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, oh, come on. we knew there was something in there and you could do that.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I didn't want to mess up the photo there.
You recognize who I am?
I know who you are. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How was it?
Do you remember what I was like in school when I went to school here?
Very, very much so, yes.
Because I don't.
I do actually. I have a folder that I saved of stuff that you wrote. So I have, this is something you drew. Apparently you were into McDonald's fries and peace and love. This was an apology note you wrote to Mr. Galida. I'm not really sure what happened with the class that day, but this you made me when I was going to Disney with my cheerleading team, and I was asking you about it because you're kind of the Disney expert because you've been so often.
That's actually really funny because I didn't like. I actually know like everything about Disney World right now. I never got into it until I didn't think I had gotten into it until when I was like.
From what I remember, you were
17.
very into it, and we had lengthy discussions. I mean, you were an amazing writer. One of the things I remember most about you is your writing and your ideas. You were so creative. You always loved to draw. You didn't like to just write. You would always add drawings. I think sometimes when you were upset, we used to communicate with writing because I don't think you wanted to talk as much. Typically, the things you did not like about school, sharing music and Spanish, because you wrote this letter to Mrs. Kerr asking her to change the following subjects, citing that you don't have much confidence in front of an audience, you can't sing that well, and this one was my favorite. I have a little policy of speaking a different language, so that one I found pretty funny. You hated Spanish when we had it here. It was like once a week.
I think what happened was I was scared of the teacher.
It's possible. And I honestly...
Do you have anything that I ever wrote, because Miss Bianchini said you might, about me wanting to be a boy?
I definitely remember you drawing pictures of what looked like a man or a boy. Something similar to this, I imagine. And I remember very clearly because it, you know, concerned me for you it was the me I want to be. I remember you had the picture and you wrote the me I want to be. And you weren't really able to talk about it. It wasn't like, you know, I said, oh, can you explain, you know, what this means to me? And you kind of didn't really talk much about it, and I didn't want to. I don't think I knew. Well, yeah, you were 8 or 9 years old at the time, so, and, you know, I certainly didn't want to force anything on you, so I didn't ask you a lot of questions other than, what does this mean? Do you want to talk about this? And you, like I said, you didn't really give me much verbally. You were much more comfortable writing, as you saw with the other things here.
Yeah.
Being cool. I remember different kind of lessons or things like this that you had written where it was like, you know, how to be a cool guy, you know, how to be manly. And, you know, obviously anyone can write that regardless of their gender. So, you know,
So you, like, had an idea that if I had become who I am today, that you wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, I had an idea that might be the path that you might go down. You know, I don't have a ton of experience with students or now adults that are transgender, but it was definitely something that I started to do research on, having had you in class, just because I wanted to support you however I could. Certainly at 8 or 9, I don't know that anybody really understands that, no matter where or what path they're going down. So it wasn't something I wanted to get into with you at that time, but it was definitely something that, you know, we kind of wondered about, and you know, we wanted to be supportive of you in, you know, whatever way we could. I do remember having conversations with you, and it's so funny because I know where you are now with your major and your plans for college, but I remember having conversations with you about you doing, we had to do sharing, like you would get in front of the class and share either what you did for the weekend or whatever it might have been. But, and you never wanted to share.
You said something similar.
Never wanted to share. But I remember having a conversation with you because you would question things and you were, why do we have to share? Why do we have to share? I don't understand. And I remember saying to you, someday you are going to win an Emmy or a Tony or an Oscar and you're going to have to give an acceptance speech. And if you don't know how to be comfortable speaking in front of people, you're not going to be able to accept your award. And I find it so funny that now you're in the entertainment field because as much as, you know, we saw some of the other things when you were younger, I always knew you were going to end up in the entertainment field. You know, whether it was on stage, off stage, writing.
Yeah, that's actually really funny because that's basically what I do. I mean, I don't act as much anymore, but basically, yeah, that's pretty much everything I do. Basically involves entertainment.
Yeah, and from the time you were in 3rd grade, I knew that was your path. Like I said, I knew it could have been in different paths. I knew it could have been writing, you know, backstage, on stage. I knew it could have been any of those venues, but I knew you were destined to go down that path because I could just see something in you even then that is, you know, you had a creativity about you. You had the type of mind that just had that, you know, expressive and understanding of things that, you know, people that are in the entertainment industry and that creative mind. And like I said, I remember arguing with you because you did not want to share. And I said, I know this is good. Because everything, when you were in 3rd grade, everything with you was negotiation. So it was, you know, if you didn't want to do something, I had to like negotiate with you. I wouldn't say horribly stubborn, but you kind of dug your heels in. But the thing is, we could have conversations about it. So that's how that whole thing with the speech came up, because I said, listen, here's why you have to do this. And if I could give you a reasonable reason for something, you would eventually do it.
Because, you know, a lot of people that I thought were my friends, when we got older, it turned out they didn't accept me, and they thought that because of my autism, I was different and I didn't deserve to be on their level. So I think that probably says a lot about growing up.
Well, I think people's feelings about others change as they grow up. I mean, that's everybody. When you grow up, things change and your priorities change. And, you know, it's something that at the elementary school level, you know, we really focus a lot on, you know, being kind and being a good friend and, you know, understanding, accepting of others and, you know, being more of a whole person, not just the academics. It makes me sad, you know, to hear that people that were once what I considered to be friends or at least just being kind to you, that it didn't stay that way. That's part of the reason why I didn't stay in New Jersey. Like, Jason is my friend because you had never met me before we got to college. We actually met in a band too.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you are honestly a student that I will remember for the rest of my life. I have such I mean, you're asking me these questions. I can't necessarily remember stuff that happened last year with certain students. Certain things, you know, just are not as much in my mind, but I vividly remember field day. I vividly remember the conversations we used to have about you winning an award someday, and that's why you have to do sharing. And I don't even know, why do you think that you guys do remember? I think it's probably a couple of different things. Number one, you were one of, and to this day, 12 years later, the funniest kids I've ever had. I mean, literally. And you were very sophisticated in some ways. Like I could talk to you even as an 8 or 9-year-old more adult-like. That's why you read some of these conversations, you know, they're pretty sophisticated. You know, most 8 and 9-year-olds don't talk that way. Yeah, that sounds like how I talk is like almost 20. Right. So you were definitely, you know, wise beyond your years even then. So that's something that was very much stood out to me. Like I said, you were hilarious. You know, the jokes and I'm trying to think of something specific, but you were just so unique in, you know, the way you kind of saw the world. And I don't think it was necessarily, you know, your being on the spectrum or, you know, your gender identity thing. It was really just you. Like, you were a funny kid. Like, you were fun to hang out with. You know, when we had to sit, you know, and not go to the concert because you refused to get on stage and we wrote back and forth, I didn't mind because you were like a fun kid to hang out with. I could talk to you almost like an adult, but you were just a funny kid. You were so smart. You know, you were unique in, you know, in the other ways that we talked about, but the biggest thing I remember about you is just being like a great kid to be around. Like, and I remember thinking like, this is just somebody that will always be fun to be around, will always be good to hang out with.
So I went home that day, I went back to Chicago, and I just kept thinking about the things that these wonderful, wonderful people had said about me and about who I was. And the thing that I took away from it the most was that I wasn't as different from who I am now as I thought I was going to be. There was no real reason to repress these memories in my mind. Even though I had these challenges to overcome, I was still the exact same person that I was meant to become now. I had basically fulfilled the destiny that they thought that I was going to fulfill. That's why I wanted to make this video. And I wanted to tell people that if you're going through something and you don't know who you are, what you're going to become, and you have these challenges to overcome, just push through it, because you are going to become who you were always meant to be. But remember who you are, remember who you were, remember your past, because it's a part of you. It's always going to be a part of you. It's a part of me now, and I celebrate that now. So I'm glad that I got to share it in video form, and now I remember all of it.